Perfect.
Okay, great, fantastic. So, like I introduced myself at the beginning, but it's been a while. So, I'm Taylor Butler. Here's kind of my plan for what we're going to be talking about. So, first, a quick little information about me. Then, I thought I'd talk to you about life in Huevda, studying in Huevda, and then also like the unique student life, because I think that is what makes studying in Sweden so rewarding. Let me see. There we go. Okay, so about me, I'm originally from the United States. This is actually my second time in Sweden and I'm second time in Huevda. So I first came back in 2021 to visit a friend for their wedding. And then I previously worked as a manufacturing engineer and I had been working abroad and that sort of made me look for master's programs abroad. I'm in the Intelligent Automations master's program, so that's one of the engineering master's programs. And I have two cats, which I include because I actually moved them from the United States to Sweden with me. So if you have pets and are worried about that, I live in one of the student accommodations that allows animals, and I can absolutely talk about that more as well. So the first thing for living in Huevda is a wonderful city to live in. The public transportation is really convenient. It's also really easy to travel within and around the entire region because it's all through one app that you can take the trains and the buses through. Everything in Huevda is nearby because Huevda is a little bit of a small town. So your grocery store, the mall, the movie theater, any sort of nightlife activities, even some of the farther away larger stores like Eco, are all maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes by bus if it's really far away. There's also, I think, one of the great things about Puebla is that there's a ton going on. So the local commune does a lot. There's some really great there's really great museum, there's the culture house, there's just a lot of things you can do. There's, if you want to study Swedish, they have language and fika days hosted by the city as well. And then most student housing is also really close to campus. So I think, like Sarah said, Club de Starter has housing that is specific to you as a student. So only students can register for those apartments, and all of them are maybe 10 minutes walking to campus. My personal apartment is 5 minutes, like from my door. I'm literally right across from the campus. And then you're also centrally located in Sweden. So for me, that's like one of the great things as an international student is I can get on a train and in 2 to 4-ish hours be in Stockholm and then in 1.5 hours be in Gothenburg if I want to. So some pictures I have that's Huerta is very beautiful all seasons around. This was one from the fall on campus and then another from the summer. I personally actually stayed in Sweden over the summer. I went back to visit my family for maybe a few weeks, but I felt like if I survived the Swedish winter, I should stay to enjoy the summer, which it was well worth it. So within Huevda itself, like for instance, I mentioned the Culture House. When you come to Huevda, you should visit the Culture House. There is a museum inside, and it is really well curated. I think for like such a small town, and I say Huevda is really not that small. I think a lot of students coming from bigger places think it's small, but it's really well curated. It's a very great museum. There's also quite a lot of local nightlife. So, for instance, Mike's Pub, one of those pictures, is a restaurant slash bar downtown that my friends and I really like to go to on Saturday nights because they have live music. It's also really fun because there's a lot of locals there, so you get to interact a lot with Swedish people, and they tend to be a lot friendlier there in general. Sometimes Swedish people are kind of shy, but in Mike's Pub with live music, they are very friendly. And then there's also a lot of cultural activities. So, for instance, in December, I think there's like St. Lucia's Day, the city commune, there was a up on Billingen, they did a performance that I went to. This is from, I can't pronounce the name of the holiday, but it's like Volksborg. Somebody Swedish, please correct me.
Valborgsmässoafton.
Valborg, yes. So
Yes.
you light a giant fire to celebrate what the start of summer. We've survived the winter. It was really cool. That was another the city had. I think Volvo's choir performed there. It was a really interesting experience. There was canoeing. So, and then of course there's Midsummer as well. I actually missed Midsummer this year, and I'm really sad I was not in the country for it. But there's tons of things always going on, and I think the international office does a really good job of trying to make students aware of it as well. So within the city, there's things for you to do in the evening, there's cultural activities, and then there's also these holidays that you get to celebrate. I think we've already seen a map, but so this is Västergötland, which is sort of the region that Skövde is in. And like I said, it's really easy to travel within this whole area. I've been all over this map, and I wanted to share some of the cool places I've gone. So for instance, this is Gothenburg. So Gothenburg has a natural history museum, which is free for students. That's another really great thing about studying in Sweden is a lot of museums are free for students. So this was at the Natural History Museum in Gothenburg, which once again is an hour and a half away. And the app you use to purchase bus tickets in Skövde, you can also use to ride the train to and from Skövde and Gothenburg for around 11 euros is what it would be if you wanted to do it in euros, but in kroner it's 111 kroner. And then the other picture is from an island in the archipelago in Gothenburg. So you can also use that app to take ferries when you get to Gothenburg to travel to the different islands. If you want to go hiking, that's really fun. This is in U, which is like a small town on Skövde is in between the two biggest lakes in Sweden. I don't remember which lake U is on, but it is one of the biggest lakes. And so you can go there in the summer or even the fall. It doesn't really matter. The water is really cold, even in the summer. I didn't want to swim for a very long time, but it's really pretty. And then it also is really famous for ice cream. So people travel to U just to eat this ice cream. So my friends and I have gone to U several times just for ice cream. And once again, I think it's a 37 kroner bus ticket to get there in about 45 minutes. Other things, cranes, you can go see cranes in the spring. I got up at 5 a.m. to go see them. If you didn't know, these cranes migrate out of Sweden in the winter and then back to Sweden in the spring. And it's 9,000, I think, was the count or something the day we were there. I got up at 5 in the morning. Like I said, when I did it, I was sort of like, why am I getting up at 5 in the morning for this? And then we went and it was really cool. So when you get to Skövde, you should also go see the cranes. Once again, that was another 45-minute bus trip that was maybe 37 kroner. And then this is also from another island in the Gothenburg archipelago that I actually went to with ESN, which is in Tjörn. And it was really cool. We also went to the Nordic Watercolor Museum there. We went because it was free for students again, but it was also a phenomenally curated museum. My mom has a Master's of Fine Arts, so I've been to a lot of museums in my life, and this one was really beautiful. And it was also on the water, so the museum was very cool. So there are like just a ton of places you can travel in and around Skövde as well. So for studying, like I said, I study intelligent automation, so maybe not what you're interested in, but I think from the previous presentation, it was quite similar to my experience as well. So I also have a very small cohort. There's two international master's programs for engineers here, and I think between our two programs, there's 10 students in my year. So in my class year, there's 10 of us, and we share a lot of the same courses. So I've gotten to know both my classmates really well, but also my professors as well, because there is a lot of one-on-one time, and your professors are very open to emailing. Like they said, it's a very non-hierarchical relationship, which can take some getting used to from the United States. There's a lot of like respect you have to give professors. I still have to like stop myself from typing like, Dear Doctor so and so when I message somebody. It feels a little wrong every time I use their first name, but that is very much the culture here. And if you're ever like struggling with a course or something, professors are very willing to like talk to you and help you out. Additionally, like we really do benefit from the close relationship with local industry. And I, in my courses, have gotten a lot of opportunities to work on practical projects, not just with industry, but also, for instance, professors' research. So I took an ergonomics course, which was taught by some of the professors that do cognitive neuroscience. and or just even neuroscience in general. And they brought in some of their own research and were showing that to us, which was really cool as an engineer because I didn't know anything about the subject. And they sort of talked about how it can apply to manufacturing. And that comes, I am going to talk about ASAR because for one of my classes, I did a project with ASAR where a local business had come to ASAR and they had sort of a issue with a product that they were manufacturing and they wanted to use AI/machine learning for quality testing. So, as a part of this course, which ran for the whole semester, me and two other classmates developed an AI system for them that could like scan pictures of this product and detect quality defects. And this company actually liked the project so much that over the summer they were asking us to keep working on it and to help them implement it in their facility. And so the school has actually now given me and my two classmates some funding to keep working on the project. So we're going to help them fully implement it in their company. And then we're also getting paid by the university to do this. So that's like kind of a really awesome thing that just from this group project that we did that went really well, we then now get this professional opportunity to work academically on research at the university, but then also with a local company. And hopefully, too, after we're done, the company will be able to give us a reference for work because that's also a really big thing here in Sweden is having professional references. And then now on to student life, and I think what makes studying in Sweden so unique. So Sweden does have a very unique student culture, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So they have these things called OVs, which are basically overalls. And I have some pictures that I will show you later. And then they also do things called sittnings, which are basically generally, there's kind of two different types of sittnings. You either are sitting outside and you have these Toastmasters who are entertaining you and people come up and they give plays. There's sometimes drinking involved, there's sometimes not drinking involved. And then you have fancy sittings where you're inside and you're eating dinner generally, and people are performing on a stage. And those can vary in dress code based on theme, but they're very fun. There's also a lot of student organizations. I think, like they talked about the student union. So within the student union, you have organizations that are related to your degree program. So, for instance, I'm a member of HISTech, which is the organization for engineers. And these organizations do a lot to help you with your studies. So if you can turn in an exam to them and then they will make that exam available to all other students. So if you want to look at past exams for previous classes, you can go to the student union and see if one of their organizations has taken that exam from a previous class. But there's also interest-based ones. So for instance, there's a music organization, there's an organization for gaming. If you're interested in IT, there's actually an organization that does the internet for student housing on campus. I have a Swedish friend who's a member of that. And so that's really cool. You actually get professional experience via this organization. And then I also really appreciate it because my internet is like 60 euros a semester, which is really cheap if you think about it. And then another organization, which I am the president of and also a member of, is ESN, which is the Erasmus Student Network. Basically, we're an organization dedicated to the local, like the internationalization of higher education. So we, one, work to promote and improve the student life for international students here. So hopefully, when you apply and get accepted to the university, you'll see a lot more of us and you'll see us on Instagram. We like to do live streams for incoming students or you might email us with questions. But then we also work to encourage students here to study abroad, whether that be short-term or long-term programs. So if you are interested in studying abroad, we can also help you connect with resources there. And then we do just general events for students as well. And all of our events are done in English. And then another one of the great benefits of being a Swedish student is, or a student in Sweden, is that we get tons of discounts. So as a student, you will get access to a discount card that gets you discounts at major fast food chains, stores, electronics, a lot of the museums. So that is also another plus. And so here are these oaths that I was talking about. Basically, this is a culture across all of Sweden, but it actually, how you wear them and how they work varies quite a bit from university to university. So they're essentially overalls that you have to initiate, and then you get to wear them with the overall, the top part down, and you sort of just wear them as pants. But how it works is you buy and collect patches from going to events. Different organizations will sort of sell funny patches that you can buy to show that you're a member. If you go to a sitting, generally that will come with a patch. So it's just basically this physical representation of your time here as a student. And you also, there's a tradition, for instance, you can see my overalls have some green on them. My overalls are white because I'm a member of HISTech. The color generally corresponds to the organization that you're a part of. For cognitive neuroscience, I'm not sure which academic department you fall under. But for instance, like the biosciences is green. I think nurses are a darker green. Economics is blue. So the colors vary depending on what you do. There's also special oaths that you can get if you join the student pub has their own overalls that once you join them and start working for them, you can purchase their color specifically. But so students, if you change sections, they'll cut the overalls in half and sew them together. If you are friends with somebody, that's why I have a green arm, is my friend, I cut off her arm and we traded arms for our oaths to show that we're friends. And then you also then sew on your patches. And it's just a physical representation of your time here as a student and all the events you've gone to and the friends you've made. They are a little pricey. I think they're around 50 euros, but I think it's worth it. It's a great souvenir to take with you, whether you stay in Sweden or go off somewhere else in the world. So, for instance, here's a picture of me and some of my friends wearing our oaths on a night out. So, generally, you will wear these out to sittings. A lot of the student organizations will do events specifically where you just all get together and sew patches on your oaths. And then for ESN, so a great thing about ESN is I've gotten to travel all over Sweden as well. So as a part of my time, we have a one of our big events, if you like board games, is we do a weekly board game night. We'll do movie nights. I think we're going to do pumpkin carving this weekend. We did a Diwali night, so that's another thing if you're coming from another culture and you're worried about, missing out on your holidays, we are more than happy to like help you fund a big New Year's celebration or a big event, whatever holiday you happen to celebrate. And for instance, one of these pictures is from Lund. I went to a cottage weekend in Lund because ESN is a part of a network. So we belong to ESN Sweden, and then there are sections across all of Sweden that we collaborate with. So Lund invited us to a cottage weekend in Vittu. It basically means White Lake. So we went down there and they had a sitting, and the theme was ancient Greece. So you saw a lot of guys in togas. And I recently just got back from an international event, actually in Riga, Latvia. So that was us there as well. So if you join, if you come to Huevda and you join one of our organizations, there are a lot of opportunities to not just see Huevda or the surrounding area, but also other parts of Sweden and then other parts of the world. I think Sarah mentioned earlier that you get to meet a lot of people from all over, and that has really been my case. The summer I spent about 2 weeks in Spain with a friend that I had made from there, staying at their house, and we drove all over the south of Spain. So you can make some really great connections and meet some really cool friends, and it can open up a lot of really cool opportunities for you. So that is my presentation. If you guys have any questions about student life or housing or really anything, I know a lot, so feel
Thank,
free to ask.
thank you so much, Taylor.